Mahadev. Welcome to this session, part 2 of our Inner Child Healing series. Today, we are going to discuss and shed light on the various steps one can take towards inner child healing and how you can begin resolving all of the issues and trauma and pain that has been stuck with you since many years. Now, I just want to mention that not all of us are going to have a problematic childhood or a very brutal incident or a negative experience with regards to our childhood, of course, but all of us hold some sort of a pain. It might be something that we were denied. It may be, love and affection that one required as a child, and that need was not met in a healthy way. So, not necessarily that you might have a very phenomenal traumatic incident in the past that you need inner child healing, but all of us are met with certain circumstances in our childhood when we feel hurt, we feel pain, we don't feel accepted and loved, and certain incidents from our past we still carry in our subconscious memory, and that affects our attitude and behaviors towards others, especially when it comes to choosing life partners or romantic partnerships. We get affected, right? So even when we might not be aware of it, there are certain memories that we hold within our own subconscious minds that needs to be brought to surface, and that usually is reflected clearly in our triggers. So when a situation takes place that brings out a negative reaction within you, it brings up a negative emotion within you, or it brings up a negative thought within you, it is highly imperative that we sit down with it and get to the root of that trigger, because that trigger is trying to show us where we are still holding pain within ourselves. That's the area where we need to claim freedom. So, in today's session, we are going to discuss the various steps that you can undertake to initiate your inner child healing. Inner child healing is a therapeutic process that aims to address and heal many unresolved emotions and experiences from childhood. The first step that you can take to your inner child healing is acknowledging your inner child. Now, what is the inner child? It's a relatively new term and not many of us are aware of it. But if you have heard about this term, it describes your past self, about it might be about 4 to 6 years or 7 years of age, when these were your formative years and you were still learning how to grow and how to be your best self. And usually it is this time period when the child actually starts taking on their persona, their personality starts getting developed, because before that they are completely pure, completely filled with joy and wonder and divine essence, and they're just like bubbling springs of energy. But as we start discovering that there are certain things that upset our parents, and there is some disapproval, there is some anger that the parent starts showing towards the child, that the child feels that in order to survive, in order to receive that love and affection and appreciation from its primary caregivers, from its parents, from its grandparents, it has to be a certain way. It has to fulfill certain expectations. It has to cater to the needs of the parents. Otherwise, its survival is in question, right? So at this age, the child starts adopting a personality. So it's very important at this stage to first of all recognize that there is a part of you that holds childhood memories and emotions, and understanding that this inner child may be carrying unresolved pain. So this is like coming to that acceptance within yourself that yes, there is some pain, because sometimes people say certain things and out of nowhere it hurts us so much, whereas the situation might not be that bad. The other person also cannot understand why that reaction, but it has nothing to do with that person itself, but what they said triggered a reaction because there was certain kind of pain that we were holding within ourselves that leads us back to our childhood, right? So triggers act as wormholes or portals, you can call them these. The triggers lead us to that point in our childhood. If you follow that trail, if you are mindful with yourself, if you are aware with yourself, you are going to find that trigger will lead you to a certain point in your past that held the base for that trauma. It is going to shed light on that pain that you're carrying from your past. The second point is creating a safe space. Find a quiet and a comfortable place where you feel safe and relaxed, where you are unjudged, even by yourself. You are away from judging eyes, and this will help you to connect more deeply with your inner child. You can also take your time. Sometimes it happens that we get triggered in public places or in a formal setting or in a place wherein we cannot necessarily excuse ourselves, but put a pin in it, hold on to it, and as soon as you find that time to yourself, you can come back to this trigger and create that safe space for yourself so that you may start the process of unraveling. The third step is to identify the triggers. So reflect on the situations that trigger strong emotional reactions within you. For example, you can try this exercise out for yourself, like what brings up negative reactions within me, what makes me feel frustrated, what makes me feel irritated, what makes me feel intensely angry, what brings up sadness within me. So you can make a list of all of these strong emotional reactions that you might have in accordance to your observation of your past, and that will help you, that will give you a rough guideline towards what you're working with. And also these triggers often point to unresolved issues from your childhood. The fourth step is to now journal, right? So once you have created that safe space, once you have identified the triggers, what causes these negative reactions to come up, you can now start journaling, right? You can express your feelings, your memories, your thoughts, whatever is coming up in that moment. You can also take time and describe the entire situation that brought up that trigger within you, so that it might give you that space to feel heard, right? Many of us grow up feeling very unheard, unseen, right? Ignored of their own existence. So describing the situation that unfolded will also prove to be very beneficial in this journaling process. You can also write letters to your inner child, you can take examples of where you would like to take her, what are all the things that you would like to give her, what is the attention that you would like to shower her with, and reconnecting with your past. What were the things that you really needed but did not have from your primary caregivers, and that is going to shine some light on your inner child. This can also help you process and understand your emotions a little bit better. The fifth step is meditation and visualization. We are also going to come with a third part in the inner child healing series, wherein there is going to be a guided meditation for you, so which you can undertake, and you can come back to this meditation time and again whenever you feel like you need to reconnect with the inner being within from your past. So, engage in meditation or visualization exercises where you can imagine meeting your inner child and visualize comforting and nurturing your inner child. The sixth step is affirmation. Use positive affirmations to reprogram negative beliefs and feelings. Tell your inner child that they are loved, that they are safe, that they are worthy, that you are always going to be there for them, that they are protected, that you are not going to leave them, that you would never deny them, right? So, giving yourself these affirmations is going to provide a secure base for your own emotional nature. The seventh step is therapy. So, seek support from a therapist or a healer who specializes in inner child work. They can provide to be a great resource for guidance and tools and different types of techniques that can help you to heal more effectively and efficiently. The eighth step is self compassion. This is a very, very important step, and most of us find it very difficult to hold that space of understanding and empathy and compassion for self. So practice self compassion and self care. Treat yourself with kindness and understanding as you would a small child. So if you bring your attention to your thoughts sometimes when you might make mistakes, or sometimes when you goof up, right? So the dialogue within our own heads can be very, very negative. If you have ever thought about it, we start being very hard on ourselves. How could you have done this? You're good for nothing, you are completely useless. And the dialogue is very scathing, very hurtful in our minds, and usually these are not even our words. These are certain words that were told to us in a moment of heat from the parent, right? And we adopt that subconsciously, we absorb it, and we think it to be true, because for a little child their parents are almost like god-like archetypes. So the child will look up to the parents and believe everything that they're saying to be true. They take their word for it, but of course that isn't true. So a very important part of the inner child healing process is to hold compassion and understanding for yourself as you would to a small child. So start speaking to yourself gently, with more loving awareness, with more patience, so that you can change the narrative within your own head. The ninth step is reparenting. So, taking on the role of a loving and a supportive parent for your own inner child. This step is closely tied into affirmations as well, right? So, providing the love, care, and attention that you might have missed during your childhood. You can just write it down, everything that you needed, everything that you wanted to probably experience in your childhood but never could, or everything that you wanted to own or have, or that you wanted to experience but you couldn't during your childhood. You can just make a list of it, and just reparenting yourself, playing the part of a mature, emotionally stable parent would help you a lot in that sense. The 10th step is setting boundaries. Now, this is also a very difficult step for a person who has been quite people pleasing, for someone who has been very accommodating, and for someone who has always been putting themselves last. This becomes very scary. Setting boundaries for the first time is going to feel very nerve wracking. So establishing healthy boundaries in your relationships and in daily life is a very important part of tending to your own inner child. So what this does is that it protects your inner child from further harm or trauma. So for example, like if you had a parent who was very overly demanding, right, it is a given that we are going to attract the same kind of people in our life, we are going to entertain the same kind of people in our life, because that creates an environment that feels normal and natural to us, right? So we are going to choose certain people in our life who are going to replicate the behavior and the pattern that our parents used to follow with us, in order to recreate that drama, in order to recreate that environment again. So it's very important that we set healthy boundaries in our relationships, and of course we communicate in a very loving way that certain limits are crossed, that you also deserve love and respect. So protecting your inner child from certain patterns and certain behaviors would also prove to be very, very beneficial on your journey. The 11th step is to engage in play. This is a fun part. So this is one of my favorite parts of the inner child healing, when you allow yourself to engage in playful activity and certain creative pursuits that bring you joy and happiness. It might be anything. It might be anything, absolutely anything under the sun. It might be an activity that you enjoy doing in your childhood that you no longer pursue. It usually happens that as adults we stop living in joy and wonder and constant stream of enthusiasm right? So it might be something as silly as blowing bubbles, or using crayons to express artistically, or like coloring outside the lines, or like it might be something like painting outside in nature, or all of the activities that you enjoyed as a little child. It's like bringing yourself to it once again. Also, a fun way to do this is to start playing, having more of playtime with your own children. If you have children, you can spend more time with your kids playing around, playing games. Or if you don't have children, you might spend more time with children, in your locality, in your community, or the children of your own family. You might have nieces and nephews. So reconnecting with children is an attempt at reconnecting with the innocence and joy of your own inner child, right? So finding your spark again. It might be through dance, it might be through music, it might be through art, it might be through like many different expressions, right? So the 12th step in healing your inner child is releasing emotions. Also, this is a very important part of trigger healing as well. So when you feel that you are triggered, there might be certain pent up emotions, and as adults we are very experts, huge experts at suppressing and repressing all of the emotions that we have. We bottle it up and we shove it down for us to process later. Maybe we never come back to that processing, and over a period of time all of these accumulations will actually densify in our own bodies, because ultimately it's energy, and energy likes to be in motion, right? So if we don't allow that energy to move through us, it gets densified and it gets blocked in various different energy meridians within our body, which over a period of time is going to cause illnesses, right? So it manifests as diseases, which of course is not welcome. So it's very, very important that we give ourselves that space to allow to feel and release any pent up emotions. Cry if you need to, express anger if you need to in healthy ways. There are many different ways in which we can channel anger, and to let go of any suppressed feelings that you have been holding within yourself. So this gives you the freedom to experience your emotions, to let your emotions flow through you. The 13th step is to hold forgiveness. So work on forgiving yourself first, and then others who might have caused you harm, because ultimately it was you. You were holding all of this against yourself, and only seeking validation and appreciation from externally. So work on being more compassionate with yourself, going easy on yourself, because forgiveness can be a very, very powerful step towards healing and moving forward on your journey. The 14th step is to celebrate progress. Now, this is also a fun part. So, acknowledge and celebrate the progress that you made along the way, because healing is a journey, and every single step is an achievement. Every single time that you show up for yourself, it's a win already, because you are trying, you're there showing up for yourself. So, take the time and celebrate your progress, celebrate every single time, every single moment when you are showing up for your inner child. And so these steps can help you connect with your inner child. It can help you with your healing journey as well, not only with yourself, but when you start working with your own inner child, you feel that everyone else also has an inner child that has gone through a lot, and you start holding more space for others as well in this process, because it is said that the more healing you give to yourself, the more healing your presence becomes. So because you did that work on yourself, because you carried out that work diligently, and you held that space for yourself, you are now going to be able to be more understanding and compassionate to others as well, right? So this is a very, very phenomenal process, especially in twin flame relationships. If you are on the twin flame journey, healing your inner child is going to prove cathartic, absolutely cathartic, life changing, life altering, because every time the twin flame is going to run away, or they are going to distance themselves from you, or every single time when they try to create separation, we receive pain, intense pain, and we don't know where this is coming from, but ultimately that pain is there because of the inner child wounding, right? So I really, really hope that this video might shed some light for you, for your own journey of personal growth and emotional well-being. I really hope that you benefit from these steps, and if you do, you can let me know more about your thoughts on these steps, or if there's something that I probably missed out and that you can add to. I would love to hear about it in the comments down below. I love you so much. Take care, stay blessed, and I'll see you guys around. Bye bye.